All right, I already fired the first shot. I'm gonna fire 4 more shots. We're running it through the chronograph, trying to get some velocities on this 147 grain through the 16-inch barrel. We're testing also for lock back in the last position, so that's why I'm feeding his magazines in 1 magazine at a time. So 12th position is working pretty good. The 16-inch is really comfortable to shoot one-handed. So in the 4 o'clock position, my ejection's at about 230. Other thing I'm checking is I'm checking the brass for signs of overpressure. None. They're all hitting pretty good on the primers. Hey everyone, I want to show you some chronograph numbers on this 16-inch Palmetto AR-10, the PA-10 Gen 3. So I was primarily interested today in the 150 grain Freedom munition to see what this was going to do in this one. I have already tested all this ammunition through a 16-inch 308. I was using my my AK Vepr. That's an AK. It's still a 16-inch barrel, so I don't expect any differences, but I just wanted to check for sure. And now I've actually got the data that I've been able to go back and check when I shot it from the 16-inch, and yeah, it's about the same. So so this 150 grain, I had a 16-inch PA-10. I mean, I listed the details of all the velocities here, right? All right, in feet per second. Now, the great thing about this Freedom munitions is if you look at this difference between the fastest and the lowest speed, it's only 60 feet per second. That's a difference. Okay, so that's that's almost like match grade ammunition difference. Okay, now occasionally I'll get one that will just jump. Right, I have seen that, but for the most part, the velocities are pretty consistent. So I had a 16-inch with this with the velocity average of 26.57. I got an energy of 23.51. Okay, momentum of 56.94. So this is pretty good. I mean, that's because for me it's like the bottom, the bare bones minimal. It would for me would be 1,800 foot-pounds of energy, because your AK and your 300 blackout can give you about 1,500. So if I'm going to carry a heavier gun, I want to see, and it's not that much heavier. I've weighed it yesterday with that scope. It's the LPVO on it. It's this is a 10-pound gun. With naked, it came in at 8.5 pounds. So it's not a terribly heavy gun. So for its weight, it's delivering. Okay, 16 inches, giving us 23.51 energy. You gotta be selective with the ammunition, because that's with the 150 grain Freedom munition. I had 2 extra bullets. I ran them through again. I was having some trouble getting readings, so I only got 2 more. So I got 5 here and I got 2 here. So with the 150 grain again, I got an average of 2 this time instead of 5, of 26.65. So that went up slightly, not a big deal. So 23.61. So it's in that 23.50 area. Okay, so we're seeing some consistent energy. I threw in the 147 grain Freedom munition. The box looks exactly the same. Just it's a little bit lighter. But there's a little bit of a drop with the 147 grains. So the average here is 2641. Okay, so if you notice here that the 150 grain, right, which is a heavier bullet, is actually going a little bit faster than the 147 grain. Okay, so it's going about the same speed or a little bit faster. So that's why the 150 grains are really delivering. So with the 147 grains, which might be good if you're looking for a lighter recoil. See the average velocity was 2641, energy 2277. Okay, momentum 55.46. So that's still pretty good. That's well above 2000. Okay. American Sniper, I was having a real hard time getting readings on this just because the sun's been going behind clouds. So it was 149 grains. Velocity, I got one velocity reading 2501, which comes in at about 2070. So with the American Sniper, you can see like there's like all of a sudden like we're still above 2000, but now we're kind of in the yellow zone, because if it goes below 2000, we're definitely in the yellow zone. So this is like starting to get closer to like 2000, and this I saw the same data when I ran it through the 308. Let me see, where's the 16-inch American Sniper? Where are you? 308, 16-inch, 308 American Sniper. Yeah, same thing. Energy was 1975. So here it actually crept below 2,000 foot-pounds. So with the 16-inch 308s, you have to be very selective with your ammunition. Okay, some ammunition is going to perform pretty good. You know, it's going to be up in those 2300s, but some ammunition is going to get you like at 2000, even below. The Tula, I didn't even try today because I know from the last time I shot the Tula out of the 16-inch barrel had a velocity of what is it, 2268. So energy here was 1714. Okay, so the Tula 308 in the 16-inch barrel, it's only like 200 foot-pounds more than your AK-47 round. Okay, so it would not make sense to carry, you know, if you're going to carry an AR-10, you don't want energies of in the 1700s. You want to be above 1800. I'll get you guys back into focus. You want to be above 1800. So when I threw the let's go back to this 150 grain. So with the 150 grain, this is the readout from the 20-inch barrel. That when I had in the 20-inch barrel had a velocity of 2832, energy of 2671 in the 20-inch. And I did take a second reading on that 20-inch. Second time around, it came velocity 2795, energy 2603. So we're getting about somewhere between 2600 and somewhere between 26 and 2700 on the 20-inch. On the 16-inch, we're dropping to around 2350. So that's what you're losing when you go from a 20-inch to a 16-inch. Okay, so I think it's important data. I mean, I think that the 16-inch AR-10 is, you know, I mean, especially if you need to be mobile, makes a lot of sense. It's just you gotta be shooting the right ammunition in it that's going to give you energy. And what this comes down to, it's not the bullet weights, it's how fast the gunpowder is burning. Because with the shorter barrel, you need a faster burning gunpowder, so you get a more complete burn inside the barrel. So the Freedom munition, apparently they're using a fast burning gunpowder, so that we get a more complete burn in the 16-inch barrel. Okay, versus let's say with the American Sniper, we see a drop, right? We go from 2351 with the Freedom munition. American Sniper, we're down to 2070, right? So we're down to like we lose almost 300 foot-pounds of energy. So you got to have a chronograph. You got to test it. You got to know what your 16-inch is going to produce if that's what you're going to, you know, if that's what you want to use. And for me, an AR-10 is basically anti-material, anti-vehicle particularly, right? We're thinking like Mad Max Apocalypse, that type of thing. So I'm a big believer in 5.56 being extremely effective on soft, fleshy things all the way out to 600 yards. Okay, but at past 200 yards, if you're trying to stop a vehicle, or even inside 200 yards, yeah, 308 is definitely the way to go. Okay, so drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think. Talk to y'all soon. So gas heading number 4. I take 5 shots. The first 4 shots, I can see them in the scope at 100 yards. They're beautiful, man. They're coming in at 1.25 inches. and then I threw that last shot. I mean, I totally jerked it, so I'm just not even gonna think about that one. Okay, well, let's think about it. I opened it up to 2.5 inches, but I got 1.25 inches, 4 shots over here. Then somebody came over that I was expecting, and I started talking to somebody for about, I don't know, about 15, 20 minutes, which is good because it kind of gave me a little bit of a break. The sun started setting a little bit, right? Because it actually looks a little bit brighter in the camera. So I'm like, okay, I had 5 rounds left in this box of Freedom Munitions, 100 yards. Okay, 5 shots. There it is, baby, right there. The 5 shots. The 5 shots from the widest point, right, which is from there to there, is 1.25 inches. But to be consistent, I always look at the best 4 out of 5, right? Because there's budget ammunition here. The 4 out of 5 is 1 inch, okay? 1 inch, 100 yards, 1 MOA gun.